This phrase really, I thought of it in the last few minutes. It doesn't really have much to do with President Obama. It's just more, I thought of it, and I've actually thought of this, the whole situation, everything that's happened since 2010. It's like just this phrase, just like this, the celebrities that I started interacting with just did not seem to have a concept of just normal, decent behavior. I mean, it was like I had never been in a situation where they're like, like communication was totally impossible. It was entirely, it was not possible to communicate with these people. And then like the media were all screaming, you know, and various TV shows were screaming. I mean, the media was certainly a culprit in all of this. I think because I was poor, you know, and they were treating me like, I mean, what do you think happens to people when they get to be successful? Like, or how they get to be successful in the first place? You either have to be born with money, or you have to have some sort of talent. It's like, I mean, I'm continually treated as if I'm just some like climber. Like I'm just you know, I'm just poor and like trying to make a name for myself. When I'm like, just, I mean, the reason, one of the reasons, before I even really got a feeling for how nasty these people were, one of the reasons that I did not respond really particularly favorably to the idea that any of them were really interested in me was I didn't want to be famous. And particularly Leonardo DiCaprio, I was like, when I understood he was interested in me, I was about just like not too far from having just like a total, I had basically had an anxiety attack. I was like, within a couple of days, within a week, it would be like millions of people would know who I was. Yeah. It's like, so I mean, all of these, and it was when it wasn't even just about the stories that I knew people would sort of like leap out of the woodwork to tell about me. That really wasn't it, because I don't have anything to feel bad about from my past. You know, I took all the responsibility there was to take about everything that's in my past, and all the hateful, ugly stories that have been told about me are not only stories that I knew were out there, but also stories I just don't have to feel bad about that. So people throwing it in my face all the time and acting like, well, you know, you are such a climber and you wanted to be famous and now we're going to tell the truth about you. It's like, look, you know, that's not, I mean, although I knew those ugly, hateful stories were out there, that's not really the reason. That wasn't really, I mean, I have, I don't know, faced those stories and faced those people, like I've had to face a lot of other hateful things in my life. You know, I just kind of, but the thing is, it was more a question of like, I had really gotten over the thought of like fame, just fame, like being like a really good thing that you want to have. And it's, you know, it's, and what's happened to me now is even worse than anything I ever could have imagined. I mean, to be maliciously stalked and harassed all the time is really awful, and it's even worse than just like sort of the what used to be, I suppose, kind of a normal loss of privacy that happens when you're famous, which is that, you know, wherever you go, people know who you are and they take pictures of you and stuff. I mean, to be so like despised for no reason and stigmatized for no reason and abused for no, like there's no excuse for anything that's happened to me. So I don't know if people who are like, you know, just starting to read things that I write are even aware of this. When I put off Leonardo DiCaprio, I mean, one of the main reasons was that he was really, I mean, to call him famous is like, you know, just the understatement of this century. You know, I was like, not just millions of people, like billions of people know who he is. I was like, you know, if you can picture like one little person, like just like totally bowled over by the entire world. That was how I felt about it. You know, it was like, I don't even know, like, or just like some like horrible like dream where you're at the top of some sort of precipice, you know, and you're just like looking down over that like the edge of this precipice, and it's just like, you know, I mean, you have it's only fear. I only felt fear about that, and he would have had to have been a lot more respectful of me than he was to get me interested. And this is the thing that I started to make this video about. I was like, you know, they just did not seem to have a concept of just normal, decent behavior, and it seemed like I didn't even need flattery, just straightforward, decent behavior. Oh, hi. how are you? You know, like, even when it would, and that would have even have been funny. It would have been even been endearing in its own way. Like, I'm Leonardo DiCaprio. I'm an actor. Like, I don't know if you've heard of me. I mean, something, anything other than basically it just, you know, like, I mean, everything about his attitude from the beginning was this attitude of like how superior he was to me. And that was even before the vagina names started. But then along with those names, it was like all this stuff like trying to make it seem like it was flattering. And it's like, why, if you were ever interested in the first place, it's like, I don't even know how to describe it. It's like against the law in Hollywood to treat women with respect. It's like I don't even know. It's like they had some sort of transplant for that part of their brain, or like had something happen to them where it's like you get like, I don't know, radiation to make sure that part of your brain that understands women's equality like never gets to be bigger than, like, you know, the size of like an invisible cell. I mean, that's what it's like. It was like the last thing in the world that any of them ever planned to do, even the women, was to have respect for women. It just nothing like even not this. Not even this, if, like, in a way that would have made me feel like, you know, not even just like, okay, you know, you're pretty, or you're smart, or you're a good writer. I mean, fine. I mean, even that kind of conversation, it's like, you know, a couple compliments, and then you talk about something else. You know, and just like to be talking about yourselves all the time, right? So, but even that was just like, there wasn't, it was like, you know, I mean, your vagina. I'm like, I don't, maybe there are women out there who would be interested in someone who never stops talking about the vagina, or the idea would be like, you think you're so important, you know, that there's like all these women who would just be like, I don't care what he says. He's, you know, Leonardo DiCaprio, and he's talking to me, so he can, you know, he can talk about my vagina all he wants. You know, if he wants to talk about it, that's a good thing no matter what he says. And I'm not one of those women, and I never have been, right? And then everything, and it was like I was heretic, really. I mean, the idea that I was like, you can't, I don't know, even you can't treat me like this, and yet they have been able to, because the president got involved, right? I mean, just the idea of like normal, unostentatious decency and just normal politeness was literally like I was suggesting something like shocking and offensive that he or any of those other people is something that they should give to women ever. And in fact, it's the sort of thing that normal people feel like they should give to everyone.